A hair-raising finish to a hairy 2016 season. The Packers pull it off and are the NFC North champs once again. But the table doesn't stop here. 3 games to go begins with a familiar playoff foe. They say third time's a charm, and we know that'll be true as the New York Giants come to town for a wild weekend next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Hey Packers fans, this is your unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, and these are the podcasters you're looking for. One of these guys was once a club DJ in a country saloon, and the other guy gave up his seats on the 20-yard line so 12,000 more fans could enjoy the game live. And now it's time to Go Pack Go with your hosts, Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinritz.
It's showtime. Welcome to a special playoff preview edition of the Packers Fan Podcast. It's the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. And give us a call after the game this coming Sunday. Call us at 920-3PACK-GO. That's 920-3PACK-GO. Or go to PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback to be part of the show. This is episode number 126 of your Packers Fan Podcast. Tonight is January 3rd, 2017. And the show notes for the Packers Fan Podcast episode, PackersFanPodcast.com/126.
On this episode, we'll be going over what we loved and what concerned us about our big victory over the Lions in Detroit Rock City. And we'll discuss how much of our team has never actually had playoff experience. Plus, we'll hear words from the old gunslinger himself. And we'll look at the injury report as well as comments by you guys, the fans.
And, of course, we'll have Packers dope sheet highlights for the Giants at Packers wildcard game. Troy, you're going to go ahead and share your keys to the Packers beating the Giants on Sunday. And for fun, our guesses of the final score of this week's Giants at Packers wild card matchup. I'm at Wayne Henderson, your voice acting, podcasting part owner of the NFC North champion Green Bay Packers.
It's so great to hear you say that. Once again, I'm at Troy Heinritz, also part owner of your soon-to-be 14-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, because playoffs, baby. Playoffs.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. The Packers Fan Podcast. We are available on demand and on the go with our free Packers Fan Podcast app. We've got one for Android. We've got one for iOS. They're both presented by theticketking.com. Remember, you're not sold out until the king is sold out. Get Packers tickets at the best prices by visiting PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets for all the details. And I would assume they would have some pretty good seats available for the Giants at Packers playoff game this Sunday.
I would assume so as well, because I know that I had a chance to actually get tickets early on and had some end zone seats available. And so I think it'd be a fantastic time to be able to check out what's actually happening with the Green Bay Packers by going over to PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets and seeing what you can snag for the playoff game this weekend. I can't believe it. Playoffs again. 8 seasons in a row.
We are spoiled in a sense, but hey, that's what comes with being a fan of the greatest team in the history of the NFL. Things just go our way, and when we've got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers playing like he's playing right now, he shook off the rust mid-season, and man, this game was a beauty to watch, demolishing the Lions in Detroit.
I thought it was a fantastic effort, especially when you get into that fourth quarter. You really think about what we had to do to overcome that 14-10 deficit at halftime. Granted, we got the ball back to start the second half, but really that game-finishing drive was really what put this over the edge to say the Packers offense is able to run the clock out when they need to. The heads-up play of some of the receivers catching the ball and staying in bounds and going down when they absolutely made sure that the clock was running, so that way we wouldn't have the comeback kid come on the field, because, man, he almost did it. Almost came back on us. It was a little scary there for a minute, just a little bit.
Yeah, but, not quite enough to win the game. I mean, for example, Aaron Rodgers, some of those passes to Davante Adams, I have no idea how the pass got in there, and I have no idea how Davante Adams was able to make those catches, but there were highlight reel plays all throughout this night.
Yeah, that post one that he threw back to the corner of the end zone where Davante just kind of went up and got it I mean, absolutely fantastic connection for them. I think it was really great to see Devontae be able to go over the 1,000-yard mark as well, and then solidify what a great season he had to come back when he was supposed to be the breakout year last year and kind of had a little bit of an injury sideline him from that perspective. So to be able to bring that forth into this season and keep it going, especially with Jordy having his comeback of the year, having this 1-2 punch has been really fantastic because we've been without Randall Cobb for quite a bit this season.
And just like you mentioned last week on the Packers Fan Podcast, we knew to be ready to see some Ripkowski plays happening, and he even got a touchdown pass.
Oh my gosh, Rip was fantastic in this game. He was literally carrying defenders, offensive linemen. He really stepped it up in the run game. So it really makes it a formidable option to really say, hey, look, it looks like we have the old running core of the old. It's just not John Kuhn and the same kind of guys. It's a whole completely different set of people, but the concepts are there, which is great because it's very much looking like a 2011 15-1 Packers offense out there right now.
And I am loving it, as well as loving the touchdown pass to Geronimo. Now, we did miss the extra point, and I almost could hear you from Chicago saying, oops.
I was like, man, if we lose by 1 point, Mason's never going to hear the end of it. Because I don't know how that one just kind of slipped by him. It was like, oh, where'd that go?
Just one of those wacky things. And thank goodness it did not come down to that one particular point. But wow. That
catch by Geronimo, though. I mean, I still don't know how he got the ball. I don't know how Aaron Rodgers was able to buy so much time. And they put up the clock for that play. Wasn't it like 7, 8, 9 seconds? And
insanity, yes.
He throws the ball, and it's only where Geronimo can get it. Now, and remember, he's rolling left. So to roll left and be able to throw that direction is a lot more challenging than rolling to your right. And so because that's a play where if you're rolling to your left, you can very easily throw that pass behind the receiver, which would normally be a pick and a touchback. So for him to be able to crank it enough so that it would still stay in front of Geronimo as he's falling to the ground, and then the heads up play of Geronimo going to the ground, anticipating the pass to be low so that he was on the ground by the time the ball got there, was just really a heads up play for him. What a season he's having being an undrafted free agent.
Just amazing, amazing stuff. And, we've said it before and we'll say it again. Aaron Rodgers has that look in his eye. And when he's got that look, it almost unstoppable.
Yeah, it really, when you have a player like Aaron Rodgers, it really elevates the play of everyone around him. I mean, even Jared Cook again in this game, really coming up big with some of the catches that he had. So it's just great to see how everybody on the offense it's getting the ball again. We're seeing multiple receivers catching it. It's spreading the ball around. Everybody is a weapon and everybody is a factor, especially once we got into that second half and Aaron went back to those, quick release 2.5 second type throws, which is really when our offense is at its best.
Defense was no slouch either. Micah Hyde had that interception. I think he was covering Golden Tate, and that was fabulous to see and much needed.
Yeah, and that was a statement catch too, because when you looked at the two of them, I was really concerned that there was going to be a pass interference call because they were really going at it with each other, and the refs were like, you know what? They're both shoving, they're both pushing, just let them play. And the fact that Micah, who is a smaller guy, was able to get the position in order to turn around and snag the interception and be able to secure. Basically, that was kind of the dagger at that moment. And so it was just really great to have Micah be able to do that, especially when you consider the fact that you had 3 of our secondary, boom, 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 3 consecutive plays all go down. And now here's Micah Hyde, who usually plays in the slot on the dime or the nickel package, having to come back out and play a pure cornerback corner. I mean, that's a big adjustment to make on the fly, and Micah was able to do it against one of the better receivers in the NFL.
And you brought up a good point that there was no flag, because there were flags on every other play during this game. There was yellow laundry everywhere.
Brutal. Man, I thought I was watching preseason football again.
Yeah, I'm sure that Coach McCarthy had something to say to the guys at halftime about these penalties because they were killing us.
It wasn't even about killing us. I think it was about giving the points to the Lions at that point, because the mental mistakes, the pre-snap penalties on offense for this game were some of the highest I think I've seen since maybe the Titans or the Cowboys game. It just wasn't very good fundamentals. But when you think about it, that place in Detroit was the most amped up I have ever seen Ford Field on television. I mean, it was loud on the TV, let alone how loud it must have been being there on the field in the stands, because that crowd really, really wanted a first conference division championship, since 1993. So it was loud. So I don't fault them for having some miscues, but at the same time, they practice that, and therefore they should be prepared for it as well.
Yeah, if it was anywhere near as loud as the crowd in Phoenix at the Cardinals playoff game against the Packers that I went to last year, I could understand it causing your brain to kind of melt and make a few things happen that aren't supposed to, because at that game with their roof closed, it was just almost annoying how loud it was.
Huh? What'd you say?
My ears were ringing just from the crowd noise. Wild.
Well, and you were up,
stuff.
and you were up towards the top there too on the roof.
Yes, I was.
It is loud up there. I mean, we remember the games in the old Hubert Humphrey Metrodome.
Oh my!
Or as we called it, the Humpty Dumpty Dome. And being up there in those last, row Z top, 400 section, and it was loud in there. So now to have something that doesn't have that inflatable roof like the dome had, these things have these metal rafters and stuff. It's just got to echo up there and hang. So kudos to you for still having hearing.
What? Yeah, it was. So I can understand why the Packers would be a little jumpy against that noise, but still, it was far too much. And I know that field conditions have come a long way with artificial turf and artificial grass since the days of the original AstroTurf, which was just from the depths of hell.
Garbage.
Yes. But Ty Montgomery getting a little bit of an injury, it just looked like he kind of got stuck. And I am all for, if there's any way that we could get rid of all forms of artificial turf. I mean, look at the Arizona Cardinals. They play indoors most of the time, and they just have regular grass. They wheel it outside, water it, get some sun, and wheel it back in. Why can't everybody else do that?
Well, I mean, if Matt Damon can grow plants on Mars, can't we just grow plants indoors? I don't understand. Why can't we have grass inside of a dome? It makes no sense to me.
I agree. I just hope that Ty Montgomery's okay. Oh, now I'm hungry again. Ty, we do hope you're okay. And we also hope that Bulaga is okay. Rollins is okay. Hope Demarius Randall's going to be all right. People were dropping like flies, and that's not what we need right now.
Especially, going into the playoffs, we need every man we can get, because it is going to be one tough contest. I remember sitting there, back a few weeks ago at Lambeau Field watching us dismantle the New York Football Giants. And it was a thing of beauty, because the Giants have not been a very large scoring team unless they're playing the Eagles for some reason. And it's just nice to be able to know that we were able to stay ahead of them, but it wasn't by a lot. So we have to make sure that we have every single person there, especially when it comes to that offensive line. So hopefully Lang gets healed up, Bulaga gets healed up, and we'll be all set to go.
Yeah, we've got more on the Giants later on in the show when we preview the game. But in anticipation of that, I put out the weekly Monday Twitter poll at Packers Fan Pod, asking, how do you think our NFC North champion Packers will do in the wild card game? Will we win by 2 touchdowns? Will we win by 1 touchdown? Will the Packers win by a field goal, or will the Packers win by just 1 point? And obviously there is no other option other than winning. So the results are in with all of your votes at Packers Fan Pod. Nobody voted thinking the Packers are going to win by only 1 point. So
that's good.
Confidence level is much higher on the Twitter polls than they were 2 months ago, Troy.
I would lose money if it was by that chance, because we got a 4.5 point advantage. So we got to make that up. So 1 point is not an option.
Okay, well then a field goal is not even an option. Although 36% of the people that voted at Packers Fan Pod said we are going to win a close one, win by a field goal. 39% of the voters said we are going to win by an entire touchdown, and 25% of the Packers fan faithful at Packers Fan Pod said we are going to win by 2 touchdowns, baby. Go Pack, go.
So when you say win by 1 touchdown, does that mean win by 6 points, 7 points, or 8 points? I just want to make that clear.
Leaving that a little open to interpretation. How, somebody will, you'll read a book and the author will say, I can't really tell you. You got to interpret it yourself. Same here.
Well, that's very important for later on in the show, because I think I am falling in that 39% category. Spoiler alert,
We have spoiler alerts for the podcast now. I love it.
Oh, yes. Good times, good times. But on that injury news, the biggest one, of course, was Quentin Rollins. He's doing well, but yeah, you look at the neck thing, and anytime you have a neck thing, especially the way he rolled on that sucker, I mean, there's got to be a snowball's chance in hell of him actually playing on Sunday night. There's just no way that that's going to be possible. And Demarius Randall tweaked the knee, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, as well as the participation reports as practice starts up here on Wednesday. And if he can't go, it'll be very interesting because the secondary scheme might look exactly like what we saw, where we're going to have Micah Hyde be on the outside. You get Morgan Burnett sliding into the dime nickel situation in the slot. You have HaHa playing safety, and then you have Kentrell coming in to play in that safety position as a rookie in his first playoff game ever.
Hey, now, why wait? Do it now and be awesome now. Just cover Odell Beckham. If he doesn't party too hard with Justin Bieber, he may show up and be ready to play, so we got to cover him.
Welcome to Miami.
Oh, my.
What are you guys thinking? The football season is still going on. You can party when it's over. Hey, you know what? Just keep partying. It's okay.
Yeah, wear yourselves out. Stay in the warm weather and be extra shocked when you come to Lambeau on Sunday. Why
make
not?
Your way up. Just make your way up the coast, all the NFL cities. You stop at Jacksonville, and then you go up to Atlanta, cut on over to Charlotte there, North Carolina. Just keep on going.
It was kind of funny that Eli Manning was asked about it at the press conference today, and he's not all that upset about the guys partying on their day off. He was just a little upset that they didn't pack the proper clothing and they were just hanging down out there and they didn't have the right clothing for that kind of partying. But, Eli trying to be funny like his brother.
Yeah, not so much. Try again, Eli. It's always fun. But you know what? You can help us make the Packers Fan Podcast even better because you know what? We swag like people in Miami too. Just not in Miami. We stay here in the Midwest. So if you want to become a Packers Fan Podcast Patreon supporter and party with us, it'll actually help us grow the show and bring you more great content each and every week. Just check out PackersFanPodcast.com/support for all the details. There's still the ability to, of course, go to a game with me next year at Lambeau Field during the 2017 season. All of our opponents for the home contests have been announced. Granted, we don't know which week we'll be playing who, but I thought it was exciting that the Cincinnati Bengals will be coming to Lambeau Field next year. That's a team we don't get to see very often, so hopefully that lands on either Game 2 or Game 5, because I would love to see the Cincinnati Bengals take on the green and gold. That would be fun.
And if it stays anything like recent history, that Game 2 will likely be on a Monday night, a Sunday night, or a Thursday night, but you never know.
Definitely not a Thursday night. Please, God, not a Thursday night.
No more Color Rush, no more Thursday nights. That's a good point. Hopefully, we can be done with that. Now, the listener feedback as far as comments and everything, I think everybody was just so excited and elated over the victory over the Lions that they were just speechless. And some of the feedback that we did get, we heard from Granny Cheese down in Texas. She just says, #believe, #GoPackGo, #NFC North Championship, which
I was shocked. It seemed like it was fairly quiet on social media on Sunday night, Monday morning. I thought there'd be a lot more, buzz going on, and we ran the table, and oh my gosh, and it seemed like it was just any other Victory Monday.
Well, you factor in the holidays and the freezing cold weather. Everything was just weird. I don't even know what day today is.
You told everybody it was the 3rd, so I'm hoping it's the 3rd.
I'm just taking it for granted that what was written in the show prep document was correct. I have no idea really where I'm at. It's Packers Victory Week. On Twitter, Rob S. says, Kings of the North. What a great time to love the green and gold. #run the table.
I know. And I was kind of hoping that when they sent up the NFC North champion hats that you can buy or shirts or whatever memorabilia there is, I was really hoping they were going to have the #run the table on the hats and the shirts.
That would be epic. Because I know you need another NFC North Champions cap for your collection.
Well, kudos to the Packers Pro Shop because I watched the time click away, 3 second, 2 second, 1 second, game over. I immediately went to the Packers Pro Shop and ordered my 2016 NFC North Champion hat, one size fits all, and my 2016 NFC North Championship pin so that I could put that in my hat for my collection. So I was really, really excited. And then I found out, of course, that it doesn't ship until the 5th.
Oh.
So 2 more days, it'll be shipping and on its way to me.
But they had them available for purchase within a minute of the game ending?
And they had a banner at the top of the website that said 2016 NFC North champions as well. So the fact that they had the whole branding all done, ready to go as soon as the game ended, kudos to the website team at the Packers organization.
That's called confidence, and that's called planning in advance. We love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mike Music 7 on Twitter, otherwise known as Miguel, says, I love hearing Go Pack Go when we are playing away games. And I could not agree more. And there were so many times during this game I heard Go Pack Go.
It was pretty loud, and I was really impressed with the fact that we were able to echo enough Go Pack Go that it came through on the television pretty loud and clear, considering how many people from Detroit and Lion fans were there at that game hoping for their first win since 1993. So the fact that it was able to come across as loud and strong as it normally does was really fantastic to see and hear.
Absolutely. And then at the end of the game, so many of the Lions fans had a similar look on their face as last year at Ford Field at the end of the game.
Hail Mary game, like, oh my gosh. I think we all had that same look on our face too when Stafford threw the ball up there and it was like, holy crap, he caught it. You're only down by a touchdown. Where's Brandon Bostic? Oh, great, he's not on the team anymore.
Oh, snap.
Man. Tight ends are the hands team. Thank you, Richard Rodgers, for catching the onside kick, because I was really nervous.
Yes.
Really, really nervous. Well, in other news, did you know, Wayne, that the Packers, of all people and all teams that they could have played, they are the first team ever in NFL history to beat an opponent 100 times.
Really? This has not happened before, and it did not involve the Bears?
And it did not involve the Bears, of all things. Yes, the Packers have officially beaten the Lions 100 times in their series history, which includes 2 playoff wins to get to the 100 mark. But they are the first team in the NFL to ever beat an opponent 100 times.
Amazing.
That just shows you how long the NFC North division has been around.
That's right. That's where the real football happens, the NFC North. Well,
in fact, in 1993, when the Lions won, it was the NFC Central back then.
Yeah,
that's how long it's been since the Lions have won. Oh, sorry, that's too early.
And of course, that's when they had Barry Sanders. And
yeah.
Funny how after his sudden retirement, things kind of went downhill from there.
Things happen. Things change.
100 victories.
One would also say that Brett Favre was coming into his prime around that 1993-1994 season. So yeah, that's probably what happened.
The timing was perfect. But at the rate things are going, I would assume that within a year or two, we will have also beaten the Bears 100 times.
Yeah. And we'll also have taken the all-time series lead since we're now officially tied after so many years.
Yes, things are finally put back the way they are supposed to be.
Yes, the earth is spinning in the right direction.
Thank goodness.
The Packers are the best team in football. Yeah, everything is back to normal. 2017 is going to be so much better than 2016.
Already. Woo!
Oh, my gosh. Well, in this game on Sunday, 17 players will make their first ever playoff appearance for the Packers. Obviously, all of the rookies will be in that scenario, which helps us get to 17. But, that includes the draft picks, Kenny Clark, Jason Spriggs, Kyler Fackrell, Blake Martinez, Dean Lowry, and Trevor Davis, as well as offensive tackle Kyle Murphy. The undrafted free agents, Geronimo Allison, Kentrell Bryce, Joe Callahan, McKinton Dorleant, unfortunately got hurt, Marwin Evans, Josh Hawkins, and Joe Carriage all will be making their first ever playoff appearance in an NFL game.
Nice.
And here's the other thing. None of these players were actually involved in the college football playoff in the FBS during their collegiate careers.
None of them?
None of them. So this is really like uncharted territory for these 14 players. So hopefully they can rise to the challenge and just think of it, hey, it's just like any other Sunday.
A fantastic Sunday.
Yeah. Also, first-year pro Christian Ringo will be his first playoff game as well, after spending most of the year last year on the practice squad. So he was not on the active roster for the 2-game playoff run last year. And then, of course, Jordan Tripp and Jared Cook are the 2 veterans. Tripp's first 2 years came with the Dolphins in 2014, who finished 8-8, and last year's Jaguars, who went 5-11. And of course, Cook is the big name for this group because he spent 7 years with the Titans and Rams, and finally is a member of a playoff team in Green Bay. But here's the best part. Not only is he going to make the playoffs, this is only his second season ever playing for a team that finished over 500. The only other such team was the 2011 Titans, who went 9-7 and lost out in the postseason due to a tiebreaker against the Cincinnati Bengals, who earned the 6th seed by virtue of the win in their head-to-head contest.
And I heard just today that Jared Cook is making it known that he really wants to return as a Green Bay Packer next season, and I love that, and I'm hoping that it happens. I
hope so too. Really, really big helping out for the 6-game stretch. He has really been the player that we hoped he could become. And also want to mention Brett Hundley, even though he was on the roster last year, he was not active for the playoff games against Washington and Arizona. So this will be his first active on the roster playoff game for quarterback Brett Hundley as well.
Just in case.
And also just for some fun, we heard from Brett Favre, number 4. He actually gave his Super Bowl stamp of approval for the Green Bay Packers. He said, Aaron obviously is playing great. They have an opportunistic defense who is extremely well coached, and maybe they give up a few plays, but they're going to create a bunch too. I just gave the advantage, not just in this game, but on this side of the NFL, meaning the NFC, to the Packers. I'm just sitting here thinking off the top of my head, no one has stopped the Packers, have they? Maybe the Packers have stopped themselves, but I don't believe that anyone has really shut down the Packers yet, and I don't think they will. Big words from the big man.
Heil Gunslinger. I love it. Brett Favre, thank you.
Very interesting insights, because you go back and you look at the 6 losses, the Vikings, Dallas, Titans, Atlanta, Washington, the Colts. And in every single one of those games, save for maybe Dallas and the Titans game, those are winnable games. So really, you have to go back and look at, well, what were the things that caused us to lose those games? And in Indianapolis, it was our own fault for not reading the defense better and taking advantage of the opportunities we had early on in the game and had to try to make a comeback at the end. You look at the Minnesota game, clearly winnable. Offensive penalties again, totally preparation in that game was the one that held us back, because obviously we dismantled them the second time we played them. It was the same team, and it was without Adrian Peterson. And then you look at the Dallas and the Titans game, turnovers. Turnovers were the big thing in those games. Lots of interceptions from Aaron Rodgers. You also had the fumbling that happened in Dallas. So yeah, the worst enemy of the season right now is ourselves. And because of that, I think that Brett Favre's right. There is nobody that's actually stopped us this year. We've only been our own worst enemy.
That is a good point. I never looked at it quite like that. And Brett, we need to get you on the podcast. That'd be awesome.
That would be cool. Oh, man. So it's going to be fun. It's wild card weekend, Sunday afternoon, Green Bay, January. And I can't believe that it might actually get up to high teens, maybe even break into the 20s. I really thought it was going to be more single digits this weekend, but looks like it'll be a pretty good afternoon if you want to sit out there and be semi-cold, but not freeze your buns off.
Well, whenever you're talking about the gunslinger and the fact that the projected high is 19, I think Ka may be at work here. Although we're talking about the Stephen King novels, not NFL football, but still, coincidence?
I hope not, because Ka is like a wheel in the Gunslinger Stephen King novels. And in this case, we're talking about the New York Football Giants. And if you know anything about the history of the Packers and the New York Football Giants, you can just say 2007 and 2011. And man, it's a good thing that it's not 2015 and it's 2016, because otherwise we'd be in a world of hurt. Because the Giants seem to have our number when it comes to beating us at Lambeau Field in the playoffs, but that's not going to happen this time, because number one, you shut down the Manning. That's right. This key is key, because the Giants are better passers than they are runners. Typically, they have gotten better with their running game over the course of the season. And really, because the issue here is going to be that the 8th blitzer is probably going to be a non-factor for the Packers defense because of the secondary concerns. So we really have to rely on the front 7 to get in there with their pass rush and put pressure on Manning, because they won't be able to have that 8th person come up and help out, because we're really be in trouble from a cornerback perspective, because Odell Beckham, of course, is still out there, the one and only playmaker really on the team. Depending on how injuries shake out, Odell needs to figure out how he's going to be able to match up. And then we have to figure out how we're going to take Odell out of the equation. And if we double team him, that means we're going to have other people that are going to be uncovered in other places. So we have to really take a look at and see what Odell's going to do and then shut him down, because it's a different running attack than the Packers saw the first time earlier in the year. The duo of Perkins and Jennings have actually helped prevent the typical Giants December collapse. And closing the gaps is going to be critical this time around, as their run game means also higher time of possession and more time on the field for our defense. So in order to make sure that our defense doesn't get gassed, especially with the weakness in the secondary, we need to get off the field as quickly as possible. Now, that drive that ended the game against Detroit, not the kneel down, the real drive that ended the game, we need more of that consistently in this game. Keeping the Giants offense off the field will also help our chances with that weak secondary. And we'd like to score big, but most teams this season have not been doing that against the Giants. So I think you have to really be careful about how you go and attack the Giants. Hopefully most of it will be on the ground, using Ty, using Rip, using Christine Michael, because I think that's where we're going to have some fun, because Aaron needs to watch out for Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie and Landon Collins. Both of these guys combined for 11 interceptions on the season between the two of them. And Dominique was actually going to be the Packers' best friend, or the Lions' best friend, because he's the one that ended Washington's season last week with the pick. So the Giants secondary is no joke. Separation and timing patterns will be key for the Packers offense. And I think that quick 2.5 second release offense is the offense we will see on Sunday.
I am hoping so. Those are great keys to the game, Troy. And I guess in a nutshell, last week you were rooting for the Giants, but not this week.
Definitely not rooting for the Giants this week. No.
Yeah, if we can rattle Eli Manning and, if Odell parties with Bieber a bit more, it'll all be good.
Hey, we beat them once already this season. And they always say beating a team twice in one season is really difficult. But hey, you got to beat the Bears twice, the Vikings twice, and Lions twice. So why not beat the Giants twice?
Why not, I say? Why not? It's playoff time again, and the Green Bay Packers, the official organization for the team, has the dope sheet out for this game, and we will have the full thing linked at PackersFanPodcast.com/126. And let me tell you, there's some good things in the dope sheet this week, because both of these teams go back so far. Now, your 10-6 Green Bay Packers host the 11-5 New York Giants Sunday, January 8th, Lambeau Field, of course, at 3:40 p.m. Central Time. And it's the Giants' second trip to Green Bay this season, as you mentioned, having previously lost to the Packers 23-16 in Week 5. So that gives me a bit more confidence. And since 2010, the Packers have played the Giants 6 times, if you include the playoffs, tied for the most games against a non-division opponent since 2010, which also includes all of our games against the Falcons and the 49ers. But 6 times, that's the most since 2010 for the Packers outside of our division. In fact, Sunday's game will be the Packers' 8th postseason meeting against the Giants, the most against one opponent, even more than the 7 we played against Dallas and the 7 we played against Frisco.
That's crazy. I didn't even think the Giants were that frequent. Yeah.
I know. And here's the stat to hang your hat on. The winner of each playoff matchup between the Packers and Giants has gone on to win the NFL championship or Super Bowl.
True statement. And the Giants beat us in 2007. That's when they went on and had that off-the-helmet catch to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That was fantastic. And then they went ahead on and graced in there again in 2011. So, yeah, totally true.
So the Packers must win, and that will bode very well for us. The Packers earned the 32nd postseason berth in team history and the franchise's 19th There's that number again. 19th appearance in the last 24 seasons. And Mike McCarthy just became the 4th head coach in NFL history to lead a single franchise to 8+ consecutive playoff appearances, joining Tom Landry, heard of him, Chuck Noll, heard of him, and the hoodie, Bill Belichick.
Is there a chance that if he goes to 9 in a row that he'll be ahead of Bill Belichick? Because that would be fantastic.
That would be beautiful. And please make it happen. We've had enough of the hoodie. And as far as listening to or watching the game, you can hear Wayne or Troy call the game. Not us, Wayne and Troy, but Wayne Larrabee on the Packers Radio Network. And Troy Aikman will be calling the game on Fox TV. So there you have it. And a notable connection, Giants head coach Ben McAdoo coached the Packers tight ends from 2006 to 2011 and coached our quarterbacks 2012 through 2013 for the Packers under head coach Mike McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
So
he knows us.
He knows us. That makes me a little nervous. Read the full official Packers dope sheet for the Giants at Packers NFC wildcard playoff game in our show notes at PackersFanPodcast.com/126. Let's go on to the predictions. We've been getting closer lately, Troy.
We have, but I think that I was overreaching a little bit in this game, and that was mostly because we kind of slept in that first half. Otherwise, it probably would have happened. So you were actually closest with your prediction last week. So I give you the playoff floor, Sir Wayne.
Thank you, kind sir. This week, I am going to predict a Packers victory.
Shock and awe.
I hope you were sitting down for that one. I was
actually standing up. Now I fell down.
I believe the Packers are actually going to win big, 33-18.
Wow, 33-18. That's 51 points. You were taking the over, my friend, because the over-under is sitting at 44.5 right now, with the Packers being a 4.5 point favorite.
Give me the over then. How about you?
The over. You know what? I will take the over as well. I say Packers will hit 26, and the Giants will hit 20 for 46 total points, and that is a win by a official scoring touchdown. 6 points.
With or without the extra point.
Right.
Hey,
so the 1 or the 2 doesn't matter. But
your 6 point margin of victory sounds like you may still need to keep heart attack medication nearby.
Yeah. I think I used the bottle last week after that Hail Mary made it into the end zone.
I couldn't get mine refilled just yet. They said they have to contact my doctor for more refills. This Packers season, it's so stressful.
I can't believe it. Playoffs are here. We actually made it happen. It's going to be exciting. 3 games to go. We've been here before, people.
Many times, because we are the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. And after we go on and beat the Giants, pretty much I would think the Seahawks will beat the Lions, and then next we would then go to Dallas to get our revenge on the Cowboys.
Yep, if Seattle wins, we go to Dallas. If Detroit wins, then we go to Atlanta. And let me tell you, right now with the secondary, Atlanta is the last team I want to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, I feel a lot better going into Dallas. I don't care what their record is. It's the playoffs. And, even if we beat the Giants this week, I think Giants fans will be supporting us in our quest to beat their division rival Cowboys. So we just got to win, baby. Win! Go Pack, go!
But at the same time, it would be kind of nice to see the Detroit Lions win, because that's the only way we can host an NFC championship game in our house. So that would be fantastic if it could be a Packers-Lions rematch for the NFC championship.
Oh, my goodness.
What I don't want to have happen is have Seattle win and then win again and then have us beat Dallas. And then we have to do the whole Seattle Packers NFC North championship thing again, because my heart attack medication will not even work for that game.
You don't have a high enough prescription. I don't conceive of the Seahawks, the way they're playing right now, beating the Falcons. But I see your point. And we would, man, if things worked out just right and we could still mathematically get the NFC title game, woo!
It's possible. The Lions might be hungry enough.
And I think the Lions very well could beat the Seahawks. Anything could happen in that game. The Seahawks have been choppy. The Lions have been choppy. That whole game could be choppy.
I think the Lions could actually knock off the Falcons, too.
Really?
I could. The way that the Julio Jones has been a little quiet lately, so I think it's a possibility.
All right. Well, I guess we have to remain focused on the Giants for now. But yeah, after that game, we will have our heads spinning with lots of ideas because I believe the Seahawks and Lions play Saturday. I think we may have the last game again. So by the time our game comes on, we'll know what we're playing for besides victory.
And what I really find interesting is that when you look at who's all here in the playoffs, Dallas, Atlanta, us, Giants, Lions, right? I mean, all of that is every single team we have played this year.
Oh, interesting. I didn't look at it that way. No surprises then.
No surprises. Teams have seen each other once before. We almost beat Atlanta, so hopefully we could do that again if that happens. Detroit, we could have beat Dallas. I really do think we could have beat Dallas had we not turned the ball over. That game was closer earlier on than it probably looked on paper. So there was a potential knowing Aaron Rodgers could have carried the team on his shoulder for a fourth quarter comeback if we needed it. So, yeah, I mean, it's doable right now. There's no reason why we couldn't run the table and win 3 more.
Or is that a 3-step ladder?
Or, yeah, a 3-step ladder, climbing to the top.
Oh, the pinnacle, the Lombardi Trophy. Bring it home, boys. Bring it home.
It would be nice. It would be nice, especially for a February trip to Houston. I'm going to put it on the calendar right now.
I'm going to be looking for you on TV in February when the Packers play the Chiefs in a rematch of Super Bowl I.
That would be fun, too, to see the Chiefs again. That was a fun game when we, obliterated them when you came here to town.
Yeah, raining at halftime and a couple other spots, but, oh, yeah, that was an obliteration.
So if you had to pick anybody in the AFC right now, who would you want to play in the Super Bowl based on who's left on the slate?
Who would I want to play? Bring on the Texans or the Raiders right now.
Right.
And the Dolphins, maybe not. But, boy, the Chiefs are looking really good, and we've already seen the Patriots. We're sick of those guys. And the Steelers, they could be a tough one, and, boy, that would be another ratings bonanza if they had Packers and Steelers again.
Oh, I know, but that would have been a rematch of 2010, so it's like, do we want to see that again? I like to see the storylines be like Packers, Raiders, Packers, Chiefs kind of thing. So that you get that kind of old glory, kick off the new 51 with rematches of the old times back 50 years ago.
But it
Good storylines.
likely won't be the Raiders this year.
And what a bummer for those guys.
I know. Just when they're on a roll, the team I thought, these guys can take out the Patriots.
This is the Raiders team that Oakland has been waiting for, and they're going to win the whole thing and then
move
pick
to
up
Vegas.
And leave.
Thank goodness we're Packers fans and we know where our team's going to be every single year.
Yeah, we got to keep an eye during the playoffs too on the situation there in San Diego, because that whole lease situation and their ability to take the option to go up to Los Angeles, which I think when you think about the San Diego Chargers, there's probably a lot more Los Angeles people coming down to those games than there are San Diegoans going to the games. So it might make sense to go up to LA and do that shared deal with the Rams. So it'll be interesting to see, as well as all the coaching vacancies that are going on around the NFL. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with all the movers and shakers and things happening. One thing
There's
at
still
a
that
time.
talk. Jim Harbaugh, right? Come on back, Jimmy.
Come back to the NFC West, Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think he's staying in Michigan. I don't think he's coming back to the NFL.
He's got a cushy job. Isn't that his alma mater?
It is.
I can't imagine him leaving. He seems pretty happy there. But,
Yeah.
it's just crazy to think. But, the Chargers stink. The Rams stink. They're going to share a stadium. But at least whoever goes to the games, they know they're going to be wearing like blue and yellow. They kind of have the color scheme figured out.
Yeah, that'd be great. They could balance that out and kind of have the same blue and yellow. Then you just have to decorate the stadium once.
Exactly.
Don't even have to restripe.
Or maybe even combine the teams and they might be able to win as many games as, some other teams in the divisions and stuff. But
The Chams?
we'll see. But looking at, we don't know who's playing who next year as far as the scheduling, but it doesn't look like the Packers are coming anywhere near me next year. The closest they're going to come is Dallas. So even if the Chargers move to LA, unless it's a preseason game, I'm not going to see my Packers here in SoCal.
Now, does that schedule not just look brutal when you look at it based on everybody's records this year? Wow, that's going to be one tough road next year. And then we got Steelers and Baltimore mixed in there from the AFC as well. But yeah, who knows? Cleveland Browns could be a highlight game.
Hey, once we have the draft and the official schedule comes out and we do our schedule preview episode and early predictions for the season, who knows how many victories I may predict for our then hopefully 14-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers.
Hey, my 14-2 prediction was actually pretty spot on. I mean, really, it was only that Dallas and that Tennessee game were the two big losses. Everything else was winnable. So
yeah,
I was close.
Troy. Good job.
I was close.
Is it Sunday afternoon yet?
Man, I'm so excited. I love playoff time.
I know. Knowing that everything is truly on the lines. You win or you go home. And so let's win.
My pillows, my blankets, my coffee table, my family, they don't like playoff time, though.
Because of how loud it gets around the house when the Packers are playing?
And violent when we're losing, or, when someone doesn't catch an onside kick with 2 minutes left in the game.
Oh, yeah. Let's not think about that because I was stunned.
Weeping and gnashing of teeth.
I think my wife and I basically just stared at the television in stunned silence for at least a half hour. Like,
what just happened?
That didn't really happen. Wasn't that an outtake? Let's see the real ending. The real ending comes this Sunday afternoon, Troy.
The real ending comes in 4 weeks when we're in Houston, and I'm there to watch it happen live.
Broadcasting live from whatever their stadium's called now.
That would be our first Packers fan podcast from the Super Bowl because we started the podcast after the Super Bowl victory in 2010.
That's true. That's when I spun the show off from my Tuning In with Wayne Henderson series. I'm like, why don't I just talk about the Packers all the time?
Why not? Seems like a perfect thing.
I might have
it's a lot of fun right now.
I might have to drive out to Houston just to be part of the pregame festivities and the tailgating, and then go home while you enjoy the game.
We'll be there for the whole week if we get there.
Oh well, I guess first we have to beat the Giants.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. One game at a time, people. The unofficial Packers fan podcast is now affiliated with the NFL, the Green Bay Packers, the playoffs, or anything having to do with Super Bowl 51. However, we would sure love to be there for Media Day, so let people know by telling us to email media@PackersFanPodcast.com. And don't forget to become one of those Packers Fan Podcast faithful by visiting PackersFanPodcast.com/support to see how you can help make your podcast even better. And please tell all of your Packers friends that this is the place to be for playoff football coverage.
Yeah, as long as your friends aren't out partying with Justin Bieber, let them know to listen to the podcast and let them know that we have a free Packers Fan Podcast app for iOS and Android presented by theticketking.com. Don't get sold out of your next Packers game. Visit PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets for the details on that. And
I was just looking at ticket prices on Ticket King just now. And yes, you can get end zone corners for $126. That's right, $126 each for 100 levels. So if you want to get to the game, you're still under $200. It's totally worth it, man. Totally worth it.
Yeah, that's actually pretty affordable because it'll save you a lot of extra money so you can buy all the heat snap things to put in your boots and in your gloves and in your pants and everywhere that you're going to be trying to keep warm on Sunday.
Opposite side of the field from my seats in section 117, you can actually be almost 50-yard line on the 55th row for $197.
Oh my goodness.
Under $200 for 50-yard line seats this weekend.
Unbelievable, but I bet those are going fast. So visit PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets to snag those if you can be in Green Bay this Sunday. Follow us on Twitter @PackersFanPod. Follow me on Twitter. I'm @Wayne Henderson. Follow you on Twitter. You are
@Troy Heinrichs. And be sure to like us on our Facebook page as well. Just visit PackersFanPodcast.com/Facebook to join the community and see me rant right after the game if we lose.
Ain't going to happen.
Nope.
Win, win, win.
Win, 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 win.
And then share your feedback with us by going to PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback. Keep the conversations going. We'll be back with more fun Packers talk next week. But until then, just want to thank you for listening to this episode of your Packers Fan Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe in iTunes and continue to support the podcast now. It's playoff time, baby. We're taking the Giants and showing them how it's done the third time around. Go ahead, light it up. G-Force, let's hear you. Cheer them on all the way to the Super Bowl with a Go Pack Go!